From the Time Suck podcast, guys, big hand, Dan Cummins. Let him hear it. Oh, thank you guys.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Now, I have 2 kids. I have a son, Kyler, and a daughter, Monroe. And when you have more than one kid, you love them the same. You love them equally. But you like one better. And it kind of shifts. It goes back and forth. You know, some days you like one more, some days you like the other more. When my kids were younger, I usually preferred Kyler. Not because he was a boy, not because he was older. He was just a better human being. He made a lot more positive life choices. Monroe was cute, I loved her, but she was pretty mean when she was a toddler. She was the kind of kid that she would walk up to you, get right in your face, and then just say, "I don't love you." And then wait for you to get sad, and then smile and walk away. And it wasn't like anybody was being mean to her. You know, it wasn't like she was modeling that behavior off of anyone around her. If anything, we were nicer to her in this weird, pathetic attempt to get her to be nicer to us. I would go out of my way to compliment her all the time, right? Just try and make her happy. Say stuff like, "Monroe, you are as beautiful as a princess." I said that one time, she got mad at me. She goes, "No, I'm prettier than a princess." And I thought, you better be, because no one's gonna love you for your personality. It was aggressive. She was tough to discipline as a kid because she just didn't care. It's like she just didn't respect you. You know, like Kyler was easy when he was a little kid to discipline because he was sensitive. You put him in the corner for timeout, and he's just hurt that you're upset with him. Like it would devastate him. First time I put Monroe in the corner for the timeout, she stared at me and openly laughed. Like, "Ooh, corner! So scary. What's your next move? You gonna punch a baby?" "Nope. This is all you got, corner." When the corner didn't work for Kyler, on the rare occasion it didn't work. All you had to do, you know, to go further than that was take his favorite toy away from him, put it on top of the fridge where he could see it, but not be able to get it, and let him know that he had to improve his behavior to get that toy back in his life. Did not work on Monroe. First time I put Monroe's favorite toy on top of the fridge, that toy just became dead to her forever. She didn't even want her back. "Go ahead, leave Puppy Dog on the fridge. I don't even want it now." "Maybe Puppy's lonely. Maybe you should put Baby Doll next to Puppy Dog. I don't care." "Why don't you put a bunch of my toys in the driveway and light them on fire? Show the neighbors how much of a man you are." "You can take all my toys. Don't you understand what's happening here yet? You're my only toy." Kids have had catchphrases throughout their childhoods. Like weird little phrases they'll say all the time that kind of like match their personalities. Monroe, when she was younger, her catchphrase was "for real." She would say something really aggressive to you, and then just to make sure that, you knew that she was not kidding, she would add, "for real." Weird little exclamation point at the end. I remember one time I was Skyping with her. I was on the road, and she was just being kind of a jerk. And so I was like, "All right, Monroe, keep it up. Keep it up. I'm going to be home tomorrow. When I get home, I'm going to tickle you so much, I'll tickle you for like an hour. How you going to like that?" She didn't even, nothing, just stone-faced. She goes, "So? When you get home, I'm going to punch you in your face. For real." "Who are you, for real?" Kyler's catchphrase was "hear this." He would open a sentence for like 2 years all the time with "hear this." That's a weird way to kick off a statement. You better have something important to say to me if that's how you're opening it. Never important. You'd be having a regular conversation with somebody else. Weird little dude would just walk in out of nowhere, just "hear this. Tiny people can't eat tiny ants." And then he would walk away. Like he had told you something very important. "Thank you, strange prophet. I will share your message with the elders. We will bring rain to the crops." Sometimes he'd really think about what he was saying before he would say it, which made it even funnier to me. Like he put thought into this nonsense. I remember one time he was really like thinking, then he goes, "Hear this. I hope when I'm older, I can still be tiny. That way I can still crawl through logs. What? There's so many things wrong with that statement. You have really overestimated the importance of log crawling as an adult. I knew what he was talking about. We'd go to this park and it had a hollowed out log, like a fake log, and he liked to run through it. But I'm like, no adult has ever been looking at that being like, man, I wish I was teeny tiny. So I could run through that one time. I never did it, but I thought when he's going through that phase, I thought it'd be funny to shave his head, give him a little monk robe, maybe like a little wooden staff. Invite some people over I just met that don't know I have kids, and just have him hide in the bedroom until about half an hour into the conversation. You imagine you're at somebody's house just having a regular conversation, just weird little monk pops out of the shadows. Hey, there's tiny people can eat tiny ants in the dwarf logs. What? Have him in row and another row pop out right behind him. For real. Kids are happy and healthy. That's all that actually, really matters, I guess. Kids are smart, maybe too smart. Man, that's one thing. My son Kyler, oh my gosh, he skipped second grade. When he was 8 years old, took a reading test. Found out that he was already reading at 12th grade level. And I was happy for him, but I was a little sad for myself. I think every good parent wants their kids to accomplish things they weren't able to. I'll tell you this, not when they're 8. Too young. What I don't like about it is I don't know for sure that I read at 12th grade level. I strongly assume I do, but I don't know because I've never been tested. No one ever cared to test me. Now I'll never get tested because my ego could not handle getting a lower score than him. I would be crushed if I took that test tomorrow and got a 9. Probably panic, take drastic measures, paint his room with as much lead as I could get my hands on. Make sure he eats off aluminum for the rest of his childhood. Dad, why does this fish taste like mercury? Because I gotta narrow the gap. You'll stop getting mercury fish when you stop knowing that it tastes like mercury. Monroe's probably the smartest person in the family. She doesn't care as much about school. She's street smart. She's in 6th grade right now. She could drop out tomorrow. She'd probably be fine. She just gets life. When she was probably 5 or 6, she wanted to be a comic. That's what she said. And at first, I didn't think she had any idea what she was talking about. I thought that was a word that she heard associated with me, and she just saying that because that's what her dad does. And I was like, there's no way a little kid brain could begin to process the complexity and artistry and wordistry that goes into this. I was like, why do you want to be a comic? Without missing a beat, she goes, I want to make fun of people and not get in trouble. Yeah, she gets it. Okay. That's pretty much the best part. Kyler was easier to discipline, but he could be frustrating to hang out with when he was younger, though, because he was a know-it-all. He was a know-it-all when he was a toddler, and a toddler is the worst kind of know-it-all because they know absolutely nothing but argue everything. Just constant arguments over just nonsense. I'd be reading him a bedtime story, and then the jaguar walked through the forest. That's a tiger. One of us can read. As I was saying, the jaguar walked through the... That's a tiger! All right, let's play a little game. Raise your hand if you have a degree. This is awkward for you. Raise your hand if you can eat pancakes and not have syrup on your face 8 hours later. Jaguar. Kylie was very, very chatty when he was a little kid, too. Like always talking. Just always. Oh, man, when you have your first kid, that's when you realize how much you can love another human being. But then they start talking. And you realize how much you can love and be irritated by the exact same human being. I loved him so much, but he would just never shut up. In the course of any given day, I would have this thought of man, I could not love him any more than I do. And then maybe within a minute, I would have another thought of, I'm gonna leave him at the next gas station forever. I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown. Driving around a chatty toddler all the time is like having an insane parrot superglued to your shoulder. Always this little voice back there, just, Bach, why is there air? Bach, I like hiding carrots in the couch. Bach, I saw a dinosaur swim in some lava. Stop killing my soul, parrots! Let me have my thought, just myself, for 1 minute. Bach, why are you crying? Bach, what's a goodbye note? Bach, why are you starting a new life in Mexico? Now that my kids are getting a little older, they're starting to do things that I like to do when I was a kid, which is kind of fun. Like Kyler's really into graphic novels and comic books, and I feel like we have the same taste. Like with superheroes, he's more of a Superman guy, less of a Spider-Man guy, which I appreciate. If I could erase one superhero, it would be Spider-Man. I just don't think he's very cool. I feel like you're gonna, invent some superhero. We'll have some cool powers. It's like, what's your powers? What can you do? I got a web. Pew pew pew. All right, can you fly or anything? I'm more of a swinger. Just kind of swing from my web. Pew pew pew. Every Spider-Man movie, he's kicking butt in some kind of urban environment. Of course he is. 'Cause that's the only place he can do some damage. All right, set the next Spider-Man movie in the Midwest. See how he does. Out in some cornfield. Good luck swinging from an ear of corn, my friend. Set the next Spider-Man movie in Lincoln. It's just going to be 2 hours of him swinging around the only tall building in town. Come closer so I can help! Just roll credits. Kids are starting to like horror movies a little bit too. But I have to be very careful which movies I take them to, right? Because they're still pretty young. And when kids are young, all horror movies are somewhat of a documentary. Right? They seem very, very real to them. Like, it's crazy when you're younger, your imagination is so powerful. You're not jaded and cynical yet. Like, my kids still need the hallway light left on, because monsters are real to them. Right? They're actually worried that some monster can, sneak in the house, sneak up into their rooms and get them. Wow, what a crazy reality to live in. And also, how dumb are they to think that a light would actually stop the monster? Isn't that a weird thing you do when you're a kid? It's like, let me get this straight. You believe in an evil paranormal entity. It can make it to the house, find you in your room. You also believe 60 watts is going to shut down their entire operation. If they're going to make it all that way and be like, well, I guess we just go back now. He's got a light on. Can't get him. I don't have the heart to tell him that if a monster gets in our house, it's going to tear our family apart. If anything, it's going to get them first because they're lit up and easy to spot. Their stepmom and I will have a chance. We can hear their screams and sneak out of the cover of darkness. Maybe start a new family. Monroe did something when she was 2 that'll scare me regarding what she's capable of for the rest of her life. When she was 2 years old, she was way into binkies. Like, some kids are really into binkies. And if you don't have kids, a binky is just a pacifier. But what it really is baby smoke. Like a baby cigarette, baby vape pen. Some kids are addicted to binkies. And that was Monroe. And that's a good analogy, smoking, actually. Because if you've ever seen like a chain smoker not get to smoke for several hours, it's very similar to a kid who loves binkies not getting a binky for a couple hours. Right? They get real negative, real pessimistic, real frustrated. Then they get that first, drag of the cigarette and their shoulders relax. They get a lot more positive, easier to deal with. Same thing with Monroe. No binky, just angry all the time. Just, no, I'm not tired! No, I'm not tired! No, you don't know! You don't... I'm gonna go lay down. Sorry about that. It was very reasonable all of a sudden. And her daycare had a no binky policy when you turned 2 years old, right? So you turn 2, no more binkies at all. When Monroe was about to turn 2, she was so into binkies that to go to sleep at night, she needed one in her mouth, one in each hand, 10 to 15 more scattered around her crib. Just a little binky queen living in a binky paradise. That was the only way we could get sleep, because if she flailed and dropped one, there was a chance she'd hit one in like 2 or 3 kind of throws. And they expected that level of junkie to go cold turkey in one day. Very unreasonable. A couple weeks after the band, they catch her sneaking in a bink into daycare. And I love how they caught her. They said she kept going to this same corner. She'd be cool for like the first hour. And then when she thought they were distracted, she would just walk over to like the darkest corner of daycare, use her body as a shield. She would take the binky out of her pocket, take a couple hits, put it back. All casual. Hey, hey guys, you might want to dust that eventually. I don't know. Just checking things out. So then to make sure she doesn't keep sneaking binks into daycare, they start giving her full body pat downs. Every other kid gets to walk in, right? She gets the full, like she's a little felon trying to sneak a bink or a shiv or something into the reading room. This embarrasses her grandpa. Her mom's dad was taking her to daycare at this time, and he didn't like seeing her get like a little pat down. So he offers to start patting her down at home before she goes to daycare, so she can avoid that. But for a while, they were giving her pat downs in two places. You know, at home and at daycare. During the 2 pat down period, she still sneaks in a bink. This is what scares me about what she's the planning and manipulation that went into this at 2 years old. She must have figured out that Pop-Pop always got her ready for daycare by the front door, same location. So in anticipation of that, she hid a bink by the front door, right? Let him get her all ready, and then she would cup the binky in her hand and be like, hug Pop-Pop, hug Pop-Pop. You know, he just thought she was being extra sweet. No, she didn't care about him. She needed to get close. She just pretended to be affectionate to give him a fake hug, which was just an excuse to drop the binky into his front shirt pocket, because he always wore shirts with pockets, and then let him unknowingly transport it to daycare. Just an accessory to some kind of toddler felony. And when Pop-Pop, you know, would get the contraband through customs, as she's getting her second pat down, then as soon as she was done with that pat down, hug Pop-Pop, hug Pop-Pop. Just an excuse to get close again, take the binky back out of his pocket, put it back into her pocket, and then strut like a champion back into daycare. Pretty incredible at 2. And they still took it from her, which I thought was the wrong message. I felt like she earned it after all that. If I'm working at that daycare, she keeps that binky for 2 reasons. 1, respect for what she's already done. And 2, fear of what she may do next. How far is she willing to go? My wife, my kid's stepmom, she's a great stepmom. She gets along with my ex-wife, which makes things nice. I get along pretty well with her, too. You know, we kind of go over parenting decisions together. Only one time since we've been divorced did she do something that really kind of, you know, frustrated me, because she never ran it by me, never asked me if I thought it was cool. She just went out and got my kids a giant stepdad. And I didn't care for it. Had I been consulted, I would have recommended a tiny stepdad. For some reason, it was very important to me to be bigger than the new guy, and I assumed I would be. I just feel like on average, I'm a little bigger than the average person. I'm like, okay, I'll probably, you know, be bigger than this guy. I see this guy, like 6'5", 250, just had a sick feeling in my stomach, just like, no! Something for 5'1" and $110, what's happening? I want a little stepdad that I could throw around to amuse the kids. That's a fun stepdad. You guys want to see how high I can throw your stepdad today? It's funny, right? Get over here! Shouldn't matter. No, he's a good stepdad. He's a nice guy. That's all that really matters. He treats the kids well. But I don't think about him consciously. I don't think the size thing really like bothers me consciously, but it's definitely snuck into my subconscious. Because I find that he sneaks into my daydreams. He makes weird cameos. Like I'll be having some weird daydream. I don't even know why I'm having it. About my kids having some kind of playground fight or something. Just, yeah? Well, my dad could beat up your dad. Maybe. I don't know. He might not, but my stepdad could for sure. My stepdad would crush your dad. My dad would probably have something funny to say about it. I don't know. He'd throw in a witty comment from a safe distance. Have excuses later why he didn't jump in. That's his style. I think about this stuff because every dad wants to be the alpha of the family. You know, you want to protect the family. Like I want to be the kind of dad that if, God forbid, my kid's stepdad ever smacked him around, I want to be able to smack him around, no questions asked. Just come over there and defend him right away. I want to be that dad. I don't want to be the kind of dad who's like, what? Your stepdad hit you guys? Are you serious? Oh, man, that's rough. Man, you're in a tough spot. I bet that hurt. He's a big guy. He probably punches hard. If I were you, I would think about what you did to upset him. You're gonna want to do less than that. For years, I tried to get a line of greeting cards on store shelves. And it just never worked out. I don't know why. We kept submitting them to all the, big greeting card manufacturers and different stores, and they just felt that they were too mean, a little too cruel. I just thought they were fun. The kind of jokes I would like to give my friends. Just stuff like, Happy New Year's, buddy. I made a resolution to hang out with smarter, more attractive friends and take care of yourself. Or, I want to thank you for making me believe again in the possibility of Sasquatch. There's no way that thing is entirely human. Congratulations on your new baby. And my favorite one was always, as each day passes, you grow older, weaker. I've been working out. Revenge is near. Happy Father's Day. I wrote a joke a long time ago to try to shame myself into getting better shape, and it didn't take. I look exactly the same. I feel like I look okay from the front. I still feel good about my front profile look. Not as happy with the side. And for a long time, I didn't know what I looked like from the side. And then somebody took a picture of me when I was not wearing a shirt, or sucking in my gut, or aware that cameras were present. And that was a real eye-opener. That's when I realized that from the front, I look like a dude who lifts weights. From the side, I look like a dude who shouldn't, because it's probably bad for the baby. It's a little rough in the middle. Part of the problem is I do work out, but I don't work out very hard. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like to go to hardcore gyms. I'm never going to be a CrossFit guy. I'm more of a YMCA guy. 'Cause I feel good about myself there. Right? I'm a realist. A lot of happiness in life has to do with putting yourself in favorable matchup situations. If I go to Gold's Gym or somewhere, I'm average at best. Right? YMCA, I dominate. My favorite gym I've ever worked out at was this old YMCA in Santa Monica, California. Nothing had been renovated there for probably 40 years, including most of the other members. It was like a nursing home gym. Those seniors respected my feats of strength. And they came from a classier generation that's quick to compliment, and I like all of that very, very much. Like a random ego stroke. One time I was doing the tricep press down, and this little old lady, Connie, was patiently waiting her turn, like a decent person. And then when she went to use the machine, she forgot to move the pin to a lighter weight, and she just kind of struggled for quite some time. And then she figured out what happened, and she turned to me and she goes, "My goodness, you just lifted that." "Well, aren't you strong?" "I couldn't even move it." And I thought that was adorable. I also thought, of course you couldn't move it, Connie. Look at yourself. Like 90 pounds, old bird bones, paper mache. Are you kidding me, Con? I'm pre-gaming on creatine, whey protein shakes. You look like you're getting ready on hard candy and formaldehyde. Why don't you look at that fan, Connie? Look at it. I turn that fan to high, you're stuck to that wall. This is my gym, Connie! Part of the problem with not being in great shape is my nutrition program. It's not great. I live in a house full of a lot of mixed nutritional signals. My wife, she says she wants me to eat better, my wife Lindsay, but I don't necessarily believe it. Because her actions don't go along with her words. She'll say she wants me to eat healthier, but then she bakes me delicious treats. Because she loves me through food. I think it's competing instincts inside of her. Part of her does want me to, eat really well so I can live a long time and she doesn't have to die alone. But another part of her wants to fatten me up just enough so that no other woman will ever want me. So that makes her feel secure and safe. She'll do this ridiculous thing where she'll make my favorite treat. Like she'll make me chocolate chip cookies with like little walnut chunks, and then I'll start to eat them, and she'll be like, Dan, what are you doing? How many of those are you going to have today? I was going for all of them. I'm sorry, I thought these were delicious cookies. I didn't realize you had baked me shame biscuits and guilt wafers. My wife Lindsay and I do like to go out and eat. We tend to like the same foods, which is nice. Helps with the relationship. My ex-wife and I were not on the same page when it came to food. I'm definitely a carnivore. My ex-wife is a vegetarian and a real vegetarian. And I say real because I'm amazed how many people do not seem to understand what being a vegetarian is. It's a very simple club. But I still hear people say stuff like, oh yeah, I'm a vegetarian. I mean, I eat like a little bit of chicken. Well, then you're not a vegetarian. You're what's known as a liar. My ex-wife and I watched that movie Alive years ago. That rugby team down in the South America, they crashed their plane in the Andes. They had to eat each other to survive and make it off the mountain. She was horrified. She was like, no. I couldn't do it. I couldn't live with that, those memories. I couldn't eat. Oh my God. I mean, could you do that? Seriously, could you do that? Seriously, have we met? I love meat. I love to live. 1 + 1 = I call ribs. Ever since watching that movie, when I fly, I throw a little A1 in my suitcase. This was a crash. Now it's more of a barbecue. Lindsay and I, we get along really well. We argue, but whatever. Every couple argues. Our main argument's over communication stuff. And I feel like that's every couple has some kind of communication issue. I know what ours is. It's the same argument all the time. My wife, Lindsay, thinks that I don't listen to her enough. And I don't care about that. And it upsets her that I don't care. She's right. I could listen more. I could definitely work on more effective listening. And I will when she starts working on telling better, shorter stories. Yeah. What about that part of the equation? Why is it always the listener's fault? That's not logical. People love to be entertained by a good story. They love to be captivated by a good tale. If someone consistently doesn't love your stories, well, maybe you're no Stephen King, my friend. All right, maybe less details, more action. Wrap it up from time to time. She's always like, are you even listening right now? No, how could I be? I'm a human being. My attention span has limits. You've been talking for 25 minutes about some lady I have never met, having problems I do not care about. If this was a channel, I would have changed it 25 minutes ago. This is the worst melodrama I've ever seen in my life. We're very different, She's much more verbal than I am. She likes small talk. I'm not much of a small talk person. But luckily, she has other outlets. Like she talks to her friend Natasha literally every day on the phone. No part of me understands that. It took a long time. One time they talked for 3 hours in the morning after already having talked on the phone the night before. So I assumed logically that something had gone horribly wrong in Natasha's life. I was like, what's going on with Natasha? Is she okay? And she was like, yeah, she's fine. Well, why are you talking so long? She's like, what do you care? I'm like, you haven't been awake long enough to mathematically have enough new subject matter to discuss. What, are you just hitting highlights of previous conversations? Put a little montage reel together, I'm so different. I didn't talk to my best friend from college for over 2 years. We finally caught up on the phone. 15 minutes, we're done. I feel like we're as good of friends as ever. conversation was so short, it annoyed Lindsay. She was like, how could you even call him your friend? You don't know anything about him. How is his wife? How are his kids? I was like, I don't know. We don't talk about dumb stuff like that. We keep it light. We keep it moving. I don't know details, but I do know his family is alive and well. If something would have happened to them, it would have come up at some point. I was never supposed to do this. I was supposed to be a counselor. So, I got a degree in psychology, just a bachelor's degree, and then I thought, well, maybe before I go into grad school, I should, get some experience, see if I'm actually cut out for this. And I'm glad I did, because I am not cut out for that. I got a job just with a bachelor's doing like low-level counseling, and learned right away that I'm a terrible counselor, mostly for two reasons. Turns out, can't stand complainers. Don't like all the whining. Don't like all the whining. Also, can't keep a secret. Like, the crazier their stories were, the more I wanted to tell them to my friends immediately. I'll change the names. I'll change the names. Mostly, I think I studied psychology because I'm fascinated with characters, just different personalities. Like my favorite character years ago, it's still my favorite today, is the compulsive liar. Such an interesting brain, right? The person who lies even when it's easier to tell the truth. They just feel like they have to lie. A lot of people can't stand this personality, because they go about it the wrong way when they're talking to them. They try to pin them down in their lies, try to catch them in their lies. Don't do that. It's a losing battle. They will endlessly invent new lies to cover up old lies. No, the best thing you can do is just enjoy it, Just act really interested. Act like you believe all of their lies because it builds their confidence and the stories get better. Ask leading questions. Take the lies in directions you'd like them to go. These people are choose your own adventure stories come to life. Best liar I've ever met was this guy named Rick. Years ago when I was going to college, and this guy, I loved to ask him about something I knew he didn't do, just to see where he would, go with it. Like he worked at this bar near campus, and if I knew he worked the day before, I could just go up to him like, "Hey, Rick, how's your fishing trip yesterday?" Fishing. Good. It's real good. Caught about 60 salmon. That is good. I would think 5 or 6 would be good, but 60, that's something else. That must have taken you all day to catch 60. It took me about an hour. As his lies got crazy, he would lean forward a little bit more. Make more eye contact, like his whole body was trying to tell you, do not call me on my crazy lies. I am hanging on by a thread! You caught a salmon a minute. For a whole hour. What kind of bait does one use? Do you just like, crawl in the water and just grab and hit? Bait? I catch salmon with my bare hands. What do you really, you just go in and grab it? I stand on a waterfall. And I wait for the salmon to try and jump, and I just slap them to shore. You're like a grizzly bear. I have to fight off grizzlies while I catch my salmon. Like a man. I'm up there for an hour, just slap it down, go and get, punch a bear. Slap, go and get, kick a bear. Slap it, slap, grab a bald eagle, fly to freedom when I'm done. Life is fun, life is, you get a lot of laughs out of life if you approach it the right way. I used to get a lot of laughs when I lived down in Santa Monica. When I needed a good laugh, I'd go to the Venice Beach boardwalk. Oh, the best people watching on the planet. If you've never been there, this place is like a mental institution / flea market. It's the strangest people you've ever seen in your life selling the worst business products imaginable. It's fascinating to me. There was this guy, this magic stick guy I used to love to go check out. I feel like he'd probably been doing it for 10 years, before I was there. Apparently he'd been doing it a long time. And I love that he would just show up day after day for this crazy business plan of his. He would wear this big black top hat. He had like a black kind of makeup, under his eyes and stuff, and these, long black dreads, little kind of occulty trinkets in it. This whole kind of like black trench coat situation. He had a sign that said "Magic Sticks, $10." And by magic stick, he meant a piece of wood he had found that he had glued to a rock he had found. That was his entire business plan, was just to sell stick rocks. I never saw a single person buy one, but he would just show up day after day, just so committed. And I just thought about how much fun I could have with the little world he created. Like, it's kind of mean, but also how funny would it be if I would have just showed up one day, after he's been doing this for over a decade. I just rent the booth space next to his, and I just wander over there with a bigger black top hat. Black makeup, the dreads, the trinkets, trench coat. I have a sign that says "More magical sticks, $9.99. I got a bunch of bigger sticks glued to bigger rocks. And then I have a bunch of friends line up and just pretend to be customers and buy one after another, and then just watch his mind implode. Just to think for over 10 years he was a penny and a bigger stick away from financial success. So close. Or it could have been more dramatic. I could have showed up with my kids, Kyler and Monroe, when they were younger, like when they're like, 7 and 9 kind of age. Show up there and be so excited to buy one of his magic sticks. Like, oh my gosh, we love magic. This is so great. I love that you're doing this. Cannot wait to try these out. This is so fantastic. And just buy a couple magic sticks and then just, take off all happy. And then show up like, I don't know, hour or two later. No kids, just very emotionally upset. Just kind of somberly approaches his booth. Take out a couple little gerbils or small lizards out of my pocket. Set them on the booth in front, I'm gonna fix this. You change them back, Warlock! I want my kids back! Oh, just to see the look on his face. What a mixture of emotions. So happy his magic was real. So sad he can't control it. Or if I really wanted to be dramatic, I could have went to like a Hollywood movie studio, got a big wizard suit, look very realistic. Have a whole wand and everything, just approach him from afar, real dramatically. You know what you dally with here, sorcerer? Leave these realms for a real wizard, Electrico. And right when I say Electrico, a friend I had sneak up behind him, starts to taser him. Leave here! Again, such a mixture of emotions. So happy he's in a wizard duel. So sad he's losing. I'd have to have another friend videotape it, So if the police arrest me for assault, I can show them the tape and they let me go for being pretty clever. Technically that's illegal, but it's pretty funny. You can go. I wish that's how the law worked. A big thing a lot of people are looking for is how to get out of jury duty. I figured out what works for me. Just be myself. Just be honest. I got called in for jury duty years ago down in Los Angeles, and I was frustrated because I had a bunch of tour dates. I was going to miss them. If the trial would have been long, so I sent in a little letter asking to be dismissed, and they didn't care. And they made me come in there, so I'm pretty irritated when I get there. I'm worried about getting stuck on this long, trial. Had nothing to worry about. Turns out all I had to do was just, be myself, honestly answer their questions. And they wanted nothing to do with me. When I got there, I figured out you can ask for another form to be dismissed. And the last question on that form is super direct. It just says, do you think you would make a fair juror? And I was just honest, and I wrote, no. I'm a comic. I get paid to make quick judgments and stick to them, and that's probably what I'm going to do in your court. Which is kind of true. I kind of trust my gut, and I thought that would get me dismissed. No, it didn't. I get stuck in a little jury selection pool. Now the defense attorney is asking me questions in front of the defendant, which is always awkward that he's in the room. We're just talking about him like he's not there. And the judge told us this guy had just served, 4 years for the attempted murder. He's just been released. for the attempted murder of a rival gang member. Now he's being charged with murdering a different rival gang member. So in my head, I'm like, great, I'm in a room with somebody, definitely getting better at murder. And I thought that because when I saw him, I thought, yeah, he did it. For sure, that's a murderer right there. I thought he was guilty the second I saw him. I still do to this day. I'll tell you why. He had a lot of gang tattoos covering about half his face. Face, that's a commitment. To have gang tattoos. Not just tattoos, gang tattoos. Probably half. Half his face covered in gang tattoos. And look, I do realize having gang tattoos all over your face does not make you a murderer. Unless you're charged with murder. Then it absolutely probably does. The defense attorney, he read my answer to that last question about, making quick judgments. And I wrote that as a comic, so I think he thought I was joking. And he goes, have you made any judgments here so far? And I was not joking, and I go, yeah. I think he did it. It was so uncomfortable, I had to point at him as he stared back at me. With his tattooed murder face, probably memorizing features. And he says, you can't know that. You've heard literally no evidence. And I just said, look at his face. Everybody thinks he did it. And when I said that, I heard some snickering from the other potential jurors. I looked over, I counted at least 2 little sneaky thumbs up. They wanted to show their support, but not get in trouble with the judge. I had a hot crowd, I was killing in the courtroom. I wanted to put on a good show. And he says if the police, or if the prosecution doesn't provide enough evidence to prove him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, you have to find him not guilty. That's his words, you have to. And I just said, no, I don't. I don't have to. I make bad decisions all the time. I could make one here. And he said that would be illegal, and I got nervous. Because I watch a lot of crime shows, but I still don't fully understand what contempt of court means. But I felt like I was treading in that direction. And then I thought, well, you've come this far, let's write it out. I was like, I don't know, maybe it is illegal. You're a lawyer. You know the law better than I do. Well, I'll tell you this. Just like bad decisions, I do illegal stuff all the time, and I usually get away with it. I was texting about how much I didn't want to be here the whole time I drove here today, and no one pulled me over, did they? And he just shook his head, talked to the judge, and 2 minutes later, I was walking to my car, a free man. The truth had set me free. I had fun with a lot of stuff back when I was in college, right? It's easier to have fun when you're going to school, have less responsibilities. I had fun with an ant infestation. Might sound unusual, but it's true. I had a terrible, terrible ant infestation my senior year, like thousands and thousands of ants. Never considered calling an exterminator. Overjoyed that they were pouring into the house. Why call an exterminator? You don't call for backup, when you declared war. Those ants march into a house of death. I used to like to lure them onto the kitchen counter with some maple syrup. Maybe they think it was a sign of peace. Maybe I wanted to sign a tiny little treaty with them. They were horribly mistaken. I'd let them gather, then I'd get a can of WD-40 to match. Hello, napalm. This is war, ants. I'd burn them, but I'd leave a few alive, and I'd watch them walk back into the wall and pretend they were sending a message to the Queen. He's gone mad, Your Majesty. He burned Richard. That's exactly how they talk inside my head. If you want to have fun with ants, but you don't want to actually hurt them like that, you can also just kind of psychologically torture them. I discovered how to do that as well. Take one ant, put him in a Tupperware container full of sugar, seal him in, and just start laughing. This is his worst nightmare. All the sugar he could ever want, nowhere to take it. Walk around and around, just losing his tiny mind. After like an hour, you take him out, throw him back on the anthill, and laugh some more. They're gonna have questions he can't answer. We smell the sugar, Nigel. Where is it? I do not know, sire. I do not know. Yeah, those ants were British. All ants are British because they colonize. Saw the new It movie earlier this year. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I wouldn't have been able to see that many years ago because I was too scared of clowns. I used to be really scared of clowns because of a childhood incident. When I was a little kid, about 7 years old, wasn't supposed to be watching, like HBO, those kind of channels, but I'd always try and sneak it. And one time I started watching it, and it was this movie Poltergeist, the original Poltergeist, right? If you've seen that movie, you know that there's a scene, there's a little boy, maybe like 8 or 9 years old, somewhere around there, and he has this clown doll sitting in the corner of his room. And then when the house goes crazy with all this like demonic activity, one night he wakes up and the clown doll's gone, it's under his bed, tries to strangle him. Well, unfortunately for me, that clown doll wasn't a prop made for the movie. It was just a regular clown doll that you could buy at any toy store that I happened to have an exact replica of. It was my favorite toy for whatever reason, sitting in the corner of my room. It was so close to the movie. At that point, it's like I'm not even watching the movie. It's like I'm looking through a wormhole into my own horrific future. So I completely panic, but I don't want to tell my mom because I'm going to get in trouble. If she finds out I'm watching something I'm not supposed to. So I think, I got to deal with this in-house. And in my little kid brain, what made sense was to take the clown doll downstairs, hang him from a doorknob, and just kind of work him for about 30 minutes. Just punch him and kick him and talk tough. You're not going to strangle me! Spirit clown! And then that backfired. Because about 20 minutes into the beating, I thought, well, if he wasn't upset before. Now he's legitimately angry. He has a reason to try and strangle me. So I threw him in the trash. And that's where the story should have ended. And would have ended if my mom hadn't taken out the trash that night and thought, oh, hey, Danny threw away his favorite toy by mistake. I'll just put him back in the corner of his room while he's asleep. Worst case scenario. I woke up early the next morning to use the bathroom, about lost my mind. Clowny, magically back in the corner, staring at me, and he seemed angry. He seemed angry to me. Had recurring nightmares for weeks after that. Became phobically afraid of clowns for a long time. But then I got over it. You gotta face your fears, that's what they say. You gotta face them head on. So I was proud of myself. A couple years ago, I didn't like it. It was hard, but I went to the circus alone. A couple clowns came out and I wanted to leave. They're pretty creepy, but I thought, no, you're not gonna win again. I stayed for the entire circus performance. And then I had the courage, when the circus was over, to find one of those clowns and follow him home. Let's see how you like it. And I waited for him to fall asleep, and I snuck in his house, and I sat in the corner of his room. And when he woke up, you should have seen the look on his face. The smile was painted on, but the tears were real. Hey, thank you guys very much. I hope you guys had a great time. Oh, thanks, man. Hey, you guys. Thank you.